the emphasis, which I think is a mere distraction, that it took 3 months to decide whether we should have 30,000 or 40,000 new troops to go to Afghanistan. And if you would suggest that there's other alternatives, the Hawks say that, yes, we need to occupy the whole country, we need to win, we need 300,000 troops. Oh no, that's radical. But then if you would suggest, we shouldn't even be there, we should bring them all home, that's what we should do. And that's considered radical. So those two options are, off limits. So the option is, let's look like we're real serious about this. Their biggest problem is that they sound like neocons, and right now they're being endorsed by the neocons. So the argument is about numbers, and they decided on 30,000. But then they have some wiggle room, and it's going to be more than 30,000. They're going to get 6,000 or so troops from NATO. And all of a sudden, it's going to be 40,000. But they never talked about the contractors. They haven't sent any contractors over there. How many of you read the story about Prince and Blackwater? I mean, this is devastating, and I think great that this information comes out. That he's running this Blackwater group, and he was nothing more than working for the CIA out killing people. But we've been doing it for a long time. As much as I like to look for good things on our presidents, and I do use Eisenhower's quote about the military-industrial complex, but he started a lot of this stuff, with the CIA getting involved with overthrowing the government in Iran, overthrowing Mossadegh. So the CIA has been very much involved. And the law says they're not allowed to kill anybody. But here Blackwater, that's what their job was to kill people. But who's fighting the war right now? Who's expanding the war? Who sends the drones, the predators, into Pakistan? You'd think, well, it should maybe be the Army. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe the Air Force. No, it's the CIA. The CIA sends these drones over, and they're always looking for the bad guys. And there was one particular guy, and I can't remember all those silly names, but this one individual, they knew he was there. And, of course, they get rid of him. Well, this one guy, the war will be won, So they kept looking for him, and they missed 14 times. And they finally got him on the 15th time, and it was a great victory. We killed the leader. We killed this leader, the really bad guy. But they killed 1,000 civilians in the meantime. And then they wonder why they get annoyed with us. I mean, it's insanity of what we're doing in the foreign policy, and it's done by the CIA. But think of all the possibilities of our CIA being involved, and then the funding that could be sent through the Federal Reserve, extension of loans. Think of all the mischief that other central banks can get involved in the financial markets. That got worse since 1987, after the President's Working Group on Financial Markets was set up by executive orders by Reagan. Oh yes, that was to calm the markets. They're allowed to get into markets and calm them down. So they've been doing that, I'm sure. Of course, we don't know exactly. They're not going to tell us how they're involved. But I'm sure they're involved. But if they have unlimited credit and unlimited secrecy, and the CIA can fight secret wars, at the same time we can finance, and they don't want us to know anything about it, and then the burden falls on us. Now, I think one reason why our message has been well received with young people on campuses, we had a very good rally at Arizona State yesterday. Is that I think the young people are waking up. They need to hear from us, because they will wake up, because they realize the burden is falling on them. The obligation, of fighting these wars. They thought, no, there's no draft. They don't have to worry. Yeah, but registration is still there, and they're going to need troops. They don't have enough troops to go into all these countries. And they're looking for a fight. That is us. We're looking for a fight with the Iranians again. And, you know, we're next, not this week coming, the following week, I believe a bill will come to the floor to put tougher sanctions on the Iranians. Oh, yeah, that's going to solve the problems. That's how we got rid of Castro. Remember, we had sanctions on Cuba? And we sure took care of him. And, of course, for the little bit of good Nixon did, at least he started talking to the Chinese. Now, at least we have a good banker, you know. We got them to make a lot of stuff for us, and they were silly enough to take our money and loan it back to us. But that's going to end badly. You know, they think this crisis is over, but I think there's a lot of malinvestment around the world that hasn't been resolved yet, and a lot of debt, because a lot of people took our dollars and used that as the gold in their reserves and inflated. But we have a long way to go on this. But this war is going to expand. We have this plan to put sanctions on the Iranians because, you know, they're bad people and they talk nasty and they don't want to do what we tell them when we tell them what to do. You know, so they get rather annoyed by that. But they have to build up fear among the American people because, you know, they talked, they have rough language and they would like to do us harm. But you have to realize, up until now, the Saudi Arabians have done more harm to us than anybody else. They were the ones who were involved in the terrorist attack on us. But here's a country like the Iranians. They have a lot of oil. There's no doubt about that. Of course, that doesn't interest anybody in Washington. They don't care. We have oil. They're only doing good things for the people. But they have a lot of oil, but it's a poor country, partially because of their fault and partially because of outside pressure on them. But they can't even refine enough gasoline to run their cars over there. They have to import gasoline. So we're fearful of a country that has all this oil, can't make enough gasoline. They import gasoline from other countries, so we're going to cut off the gasoline. Remember the last time we did that? We did it to the Japanese in about 1939, 1940. So we're going to cut that off. And the whole theory is we're going to cut this fuel off to punish the Ayatollah and those radical leaders in Ahmadinejad. They'll get the message. The people are going to be furious with Ahmadinejad and say, oh, look at what you're doing to us. We don't even have gasoline. Our leaders don't think that the Iranian people are going to have enough sense to figure it out that they are being injured not by their leaders, but by us. And they have dissidents in that country. There are people who would like to get rid of Ahmadinejad. So everything we do is we neutralize them and we unify that country against us. But there will be escalation, is what I think. I mean, this is going to lead to more confrontation because if they don't promise and they don't quit and if they never enrich again, even if they follow all the rules of the International Atomic Energy Association, they're still going to be in trouble. And they've never been proven to actually have broken that treaty. I keep thinking maybe what the Iranians ought to do is say, okay, we're going to be good guys now. But the only thing we ask is that every country in the region join in and be susceptible to the same type of regulations that we have to be put under. Can you imagine what that would do?